Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's not just a pickup truck, it's a Ford F-150. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. New Fuel Max tires help you have a winning fuel strategy. That could come into play here at Talladega. We've already had a few trucks on pit road after our first caution. Our second caution came out when Robert Richardson's engine in the 71 expired as they were coming out of turn number 4. A little bit of a hairy moment for Chad McCumbee just behind him. But Robert Richardson, good heads-up move, goes down to the apron quickly.
What you have to understand, you know, McCumbee saw what happened. But after that, Setzer and those guys that were running behind McCumbee, they were blinded. So they just had to hope that nothing went crazy in front of them and they could get through it. Adam, what's happening on pit road? Well, they do that 51.
Really no changes to the 51, just added fuel, Mikey, and they didn't have much track position after making a couple of stops the last time, so it wasn't 2 stops, it was an extended stop. But anyhow, they came down pit road to top off the fuel tank. They wouldn't really lose any track position, and they're still dragging that splitter, and Kyle talked on the radio about how difficult it is to set the splitter height because you set it up and then you get out and there's so much difference as far as travel in the draft. So they're still working on that, but I think he feels pretty confident. Krista?
Down here in Ricky Carmichael's camp, the plan for them was tires first. They did a tire stop, and now they're going to come back in for fuel. They said, whatever you do, Ricky, do not speed. That was the instructions from crew chief John Monson. He also asked Ricky on that last run, how was your truck in the middle? Ricky's answer, perfect.
Field just getting the 1 to go sign before the green flag will slip away quickly and be right back in 60 seconds to catch that green flag going back in the air. Attention all you Digger fans, you can now get Digger on your computer and get free Digger videos, wallpapers, games, and more. Visit digger.ask.com today.
Does Digger Twitter?
If he does, I bet he's following you.
Here's your Aaron's lucky dog. We're going to hand that right over to Brandon Knupp in his number 47 truck. Aaron's is a big sponsor of the Talladega Speedway. In the spring, they have the Aaron's Dream Weekend here. Tomorrow, David Rudin will drive the Aaron's car in the big race. Today, they're giving away laps.
Leaves us with 33 trucks on the lead lap right now.
Coming up on lap 18, Colin Brown, Eric Almirola, Todd Bodine, Ron Hornaday bring the field back to the green flag.
Now that's a textbook start there for Colin Brown. Look right on his bumper is a truck of Almirola. You know, he didn't put a gap on Eric, so Eric couldn't get a big head of momentum after him. He sustained that start. He held him off for the critical moment, and now he's going to stay pinned to that white line, yellow line, and try to lead this race.
And this is when Colin right now is the most vulnerable. If Eric had any momentum at all, he has the 30 of Todd Bodine behind him. He may have chose to pull out, but looks like he's very content to ride behind that 6 truck. Obviously, he knows that truck is extremely strong.
Yeah, he won the pole by close to a half a second. He was way faster than the field in qualifying, and right now he's just pulling him along in a nice straight line. I guarantee you those first 8 or 10 guys are pretty content right now. Doesn't look like it in that view. Look like they're getting a little antsy, but they should be pretty content right now just to ride, log some laps. Now you get back around 10th or 12th, though, that's when you might see some guys try to form up and come on the outside and make a run toward the front.
And that's what Eric Almirola looks like he's doing right now, logging laps right behind that 6 of Colin Brown. Is that what he's doing, Adam?
You guys have hit the nail squarely on the head. Under that last caution, Eric Almirola came over the radio and said, I'm just riding. No problems at all with the truck, so that is very good. And now I've been passed a note. They have a problem with the oil and water temperatures running low. They have some tape ready to put on the grill when they come back down pit road. So that's something to watch as far as Eric Almirola is concerned. When you talk about Colin Brown, he loves being out front, but he's been there before. He ran an ARCA race here a couple of years ago, and of course the truck race a year ago. In both of those events, he led at the white flag, but didn't win the race. He knows he's got a long way to go.
Another thing to consider, guys, is as those trucks ride in line like that, second, third, fourth, somebody back there might have an overheating problem. They can't just sit there and ride in line even though they're content. They might have to get out of line, get some air to their grill, and they're not just going to pull out of line and fall back. They're going to make sure they try to, when they do pull out of line, they drive toward the front.
They're only going to pull out a half a truck length maybe, just to get a little bit of air in one side of that grill, but because they do not want to give up this spot they have right now in line.
It almost sounded surprising to me that somebody would be running too cool. Having to add tape to try to get the oil temperature to come up a little bit doesn't sound normal. That's
pretty normal, especially on a cold day. The temperature's a little bit colder today than it was yesterday. So calculating exactly how much tape you run on the grill of your truck is something these crew chiefs are very serious about. They try to think that they can do it perfectly, and sometimes they miss.
Let's keep an eye on this outside line. Now, Kyle Busch is pretty racy. He's got Johnny Sauter with him. Now he has some more help. Some other guys pull out in the outside line.
A lot of communication from spotters to drivers, letting them know who's moving and where. How about the 14 of Rick Crawford, Ray?
Well, Rick, he just missed his opportunity. He came on the radio and said, let me know if that outside line starts to make a go. He was at the very tail of the front group in about 11th, and just as the spotter said, get ready, that group came so fast and went by Crawford, he wasn't able to join the pack. When that outside line gets ready to go, they form up in a hurry, and watch them. They're going to be coming on that outside.
Well, they made a little bit of progress, but it almost seems as though that progress has stalled out right now. Look like now Johnny Sauter looked for an instant like he may pull out to go to the outside of Kyle Busch. He did do that.
He does. He wasn't liking the progress he and Kyle were making. Kyle's truck is still hitting the ground. We saw some sparks flying out from under the 51 truck, so that might have not made him as fast as Johnny hoped he would be. But he can't complete the pass. They are 3 wide, though.
Yeah, there's Johnny Sauter leading that pack on the very outside. Has Stacy Compton, Timothy Peters right behind him.
There was so much momentum in that 17 truck of Timothy Peters until he got right up to the back of the 60 of Stacy Compton, and then that momentum died, and now we see the 17 actually dropping back a bit.
And Kyle's making some progress. He's up beside Terry Cook, it looks like, right now. Or is that Crawford?
Rick Crawford.
Rick Crawford, 14 truck. Right behind J.R. Fitzpatrick, who's doing a nice job right now running in the top 10 in that 29 truck.
And we see right behind Rick Crawford's truck the 8 of Dennis Setzer, who we normally talk about being a short track racer, but holding his own right here at the biggest track on the circuit.
Man, I've been in those, obviously, for the last 25 years, Rick. I've been out there in the middle of all that on Sunday afternoon. And despite the fact that it looks relatively calm down on that inside, look at Pappas jumping around trying to figure out what he wants to do. I don't think he quite knows yet. He's trying to learn. Skinner's going to join that outside line to try to, what I'm saying, Phil, despite the fact that it looks calm down there running 3rd or 4th, you're not. You're tense as ever because you don't know if these guys are going to stay in line. You're trying to watch that outside groove to see if they're going to make any progress. Do you need to jump up there and get in line with them? What to do? So every second there's a decision to be made.
And we talk about it a lot, but I cannot emphasize enough that those drivers right now are looking in the mirror as much as they're looking out the windshield, and that includes the 6 of Colin Brown, who's leading this race.
Right up your ass, still inside, still lining.
That outside is now driven up another spot or two. They're gaining on it. You know, and Phil, if they can ever inch their way all the way to the front, I think at that point there isn't really an advantage to one lane or the other. Right now, the reason why that inside line is able to hold them off is because there's no arrow drafting the side of the 6 truck of Colin Brown. He's got clean air in front of him and beside him, and he's getting a push from behind. It's a perfect world right now for Colin Brown, but Kyle Busch and Mike Skinner, it looks like, are going to eventually get there.
We're beginning to see some momentum on the outside line. In practice, we hear drivers talk a little bit about, I run better in front of this truck. Is that the case right now with Mike Skinner in front of Kyle Busch?
Well, Mike Skinner did the same thing earlier. He got in line in front of the outside pack when it got to him. He likes his truck up there. He thinks he can pull that outer line to the front. And what he also likes right now is Kyle Busch being behind him, because Kyle knows how to bump draft. Kyle can put his bumper to Mike's. Mike's confident that Kyle's not going to wreck him, and he's going to push him as good as possible. And right now they're coming to the lead.
Here comes that outside line. Adam Alexander.
Kyle Busch just said, I think I'm the only one in this outside lane that knows how to push. Jeff Dickerson, the spotter, trying to help him with that. And now Kyle going to get a little help, it looks like, from behind. Outside lane gets the advantage. Mike Skinner appears to have the point.